Another Thursday, another Deadlock update. Welcome back to Patch Notice, I'm your host, Jackie. Let's get into the update that's just been released on the 11th of July. Up first, let's take a look at the general changes and see what Valve have cooked up this week. Testing times have changed. They'll now start 1 hour earlier for all regions. That's more time to deadlock. And Europe has been split up into 2 regions based on language. The shop has also had a few changes in regards to item searching. It's been improved, and the damage report has had a couple of adjustments made to it alongside that as well. Visibility changes have also occurred inside of this patch, with the flashing effect that happens when you shoot a hero now being reduced. There's a couple of other visual tweaks, so let's get into those as well. Affliction, Pocket's ultimate, has been given a bit more green. As you can see, a nice viscous goop like the Nickelodeon's Choice Awards will be left behind when he now uses his ultimate. Restorative Shot has also had a visual tweak made to its bullet and healing effect. Here's the before and after. I can't see much of a difference myself, but Valve do say they've made some adjustments here. It's in the notes, so it must be real. Phantom Strike, however, visually has changed. It now has a shield effect and a bit more pizzazz to it when leaping towards your enemies and giving them a sucker punch. Restorative Locket has not really changed too much at all, has it? They say that they've adjusted the visuals, but I can't notice anything there either. For sound effect changes, there's been adjustments made to Charge Shot, Souls, Power-Ups, Breakables, and a sound that will now play when going to the hero select screen. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's patch for me, the map updates. This is huge. The base and spawn area where your patrons are have been completely overhauled in tonight's update. They've decided to take a vastly different approach to what has been quite consistent throughout the majority of the Deadlock playtest so far, with this flat second phase area for your patron when it enters its weakened state. As you can see on screen, this is how it looked in the 4th of July update. Now this is how it looks in the 11th of July patch. There is a huge overhaul made to the area. It's now completely sunken into the ground with a lower level battle sort of arena for you to fight within. And they've made some changes to how quickly you can get out from the spawn as well. You can see these drop down tunnels that have now been added. So you can very quickly run in a straight line, get straight back into the fight. You no longer have to go through the choke points on either side when respawning at your base. Actually a really cool change that Valve have made here, and it'll be intriguing to see how this affects the timings of fights and skirmishes when it feels like your patron's going to be destroyed before you can get back into the clash. Could be a nice adjustment here. On the visual side again, they've made some changes to the item signs that were around the map. Most notably, you'll remember the one with the little demon in a jar called Contain. Instead, those have been removed and you've now got new item signs based on some of the actual buyable items that you can get from the Curiosity shop. Tesla bullets, basic magazine, and a couple others as well. Now, Factory Street has had its awkward road widened because they couldn't get any of the lorries out when delivering their factory materials. Maybe steel. I think it's a steel place. Maybe that's what it is. Who really knows? But either way, they've widened the road. It's a bit bigger now. More of a gameplay map update, they've added lots of new Duke closets around the map, giving you multiple opportunities to duck in, find some cover, pop off an ability or a heal at various levels of elevation. Some of them have new balconies, and a few of them are even on top of roofs, opening up many more gameplay opportunities. Down low though, we've seen some changes to the underground tunnels. They've added new signs underground, letting you know where you're going so you don't get lost and accidentally get on the district line. The underground path has also been completely overhauled, reducing its length and zigzag effect that it had when going down from the Curiosity shop to the underground area. Valve have also added more lore in the form of news audio that plays at any of the Fortune news booths. Check that out in game for yourself, don't want to spoil that. And they've replaced the arrows that would be at mid-temple, you can see on screen here. I guess they were just placeholders. Personally, I thought that they looked okay, but they have been removed and instead replaced with the classic signage that we've seen across Deadlock's map, with Orchard Boulevard and the other one for the blue side. So you've got those to work with now if you need to quickly make a decision on where you have to go when sprinting from mid-temple. Don't look for the arrows, look for the signs. Talon has also had a couple of changes to it, actually quite a few nice ones in this patch if I'm honest. The HUD will now indicate that the Depositor will gain plus 25% souls and plus 1 AP for completing the task, quite a nice reward there. Spectator changes have come in and there's been a few quality of life additions. You can now click on the profile images at the top of the screen. Overall, just a few nice tweaks for anyone that's been enjoying the use of the replay features, so play around with that as well to get a hang of it. Hero changes. Now this is the big one. Abrams has had a massive set of buffs. His shoulder charge has been given increased distance, but it's this last adjustment at tier 3 that's the real sleeper buff. When you bump into people now, you'll get increased lifesteal and damage on your bullets, but this stacks per bullet, really quite strong. Definitely give Abrams a go after tonight's update. Dynamo has had a more simple tweak made, where he can now have a little bit more range when repositioning his teammates or repositioning himself with his quantum entanglement. So not too much of a crazy adjustment there, just one for the Dynamo mains that might be thinking they want to go a little bit further with their teleport. Talon has also had a few tweaks. Up first is his rain of arrows, and preceding that, they've also decided to make some overhauls to Guided Owl. They've gone in on the old Guided Owl, so yeah, play around with that as it has actually changed quite a bit in terms of the overall statistics of the ultimate. Ivy continues to get love, patch to patch as well, and Watcher's Covenant is still being tweaked. Everyone's favourite asshole again, Jacob Lash, has also received some slight adjustments to not only his ultimate this time, but ground strike as well. You can see on screen the changes for both Death Slam and ground strike. McGinnis. Now, if you were frustrated by the turrets, you've seen over the past few patches, Valve have been nerfing her slowly, and her mini turrets now have a reduced lifespan. Not as bad as the Mayfly, but they will only stay alive for 30 seconds rather than 40. What feels like some nice minor adjustments for Mo and Krill inside of this patch, just making some adjustments to his Sandblast, and that's kind of it really, just a few tweaks here and there. Paradox has also received the same treatment that a lot of heroes have been receiving. This was also done to Ivy in this patch as well, where use of the grenades would lag if you would jump or sprint with fast velocity, and they would land in an incorrect location. So instead now it's been made more consistent and should always land where it's supposed to, where it's indicated to. Her kinetic carbine has also been reduced slightly in terms of its range capability. And for Pocket, his enchanted satchel duration has gone up from 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. And his tier 3 has now been changed to a 2.5 second disarm. With 7, your electric light bulb, well, he's been adjusted slightly again with his static charge. The range scaling has been reduced slightly from what it was in the previous patch at 0.1 to now 0.07, and static charge's base radius has been reduced from 8 meters to 5 as well, so it's not as easy to get those stuns off as it was last patch. But his tier 2 will give you a plus 5 meter radius. The sniper, Vindicta, has also had a few changes. Her Crow familiar duration, based off spirit power scaling, has again been reduced, this time from 0.07 to 0.05. Gun damage growth has been increased, however, from 0.7 up to 0.85. With Warden, his reload time no longer scales with spirit power, and he now innately gains additive fire rate from spirit power. So no more reload buff, but it's the damage that goes up. Yamato's Shadow Transformation incoming damage reduction has been reduced from 70% to 55%, and her transformation changed from a 70% debuff reduction to the same buff as Unstoppable. As for Haze, it's again a minor nerf, very small. Ammo scaling with spirit power has been reduced from 0.6 to 0.5. Item changes then. Now this is where things get a little bit interesting. Debuff Reducer is now a tier 2 item, and this has been done due to the addition of Debuff Remover that will upgrade from Debuff Reducer. You'll notice this is a bit of a trend that Valve are doing in this patch. They seem to be going for the idea of combining more items and forcing you to build around the idea of combinable items rather than stacking lower cost items in the 1.2k region, which I actually think is a positive change. You can see some of the item cards on screen here for the notable items that I've picked out. One of them in the orange category is Titanic Magazine. Reload penalty has been removed on that bad boy, I assume following the nerfs to Quicksilver Reload. Active Reload, however, has had some huge quality of life overhauls. It now ignores input for the first few seconds when you go into reloading, so there's no messing up your reload timing on Active Reload. Silencer also is now a combinable item that's more expensive and requires you to buy slowing bullets. The range and cooldown has been buffed on Mystic Reverb as well, and it looks like you might want to start picking that one up a little bit more following tonight's update. Meanwhile, let's have a look at the miscellaneous changes. Talon had a few more tweaks inside of this category, so we can get into it in greater detail. An AP increase and a bounty increase for the person that is risky enough to go for the Talon, and that's because of this. You'll now be silenced when picking up the Talon, but with increased sprint, so incentivizing you to basically be a high-speed runner and take it across the map, rather than a slower, stagnant target. Pretty cool, eh? Power-ups have also had a few tweaks, with duration being increased. Movement power-up specifically will now grant you extra stamina, and a bug has been fixed where it wasn't replenishing your stamina bar on pickup. It shouldn't do that anymore. For the golden icons, level 2 bonuses, spawn time has been reduced from 25 to 20 minutes, and the effects have been slightly buffed on a few of the categories. Weapon changes then. Now this one affects all of the heroes. Bullet fall off now begins at 22 meters. This is down from 27 before the 4th and 25 on the 4th. Global base ammo has been increased by 5% for all heroes, barring Wraith and Haze. No love for my two mains, unfortunate. But it kind of makes sense in the grand scheme of things. They've also increased the duration of zipline boost. It's up from 25 seconds to 32 seconds, giving you a little bit more time to quickly dip back to base, get a heal in, buy an item, and get back in lane, especially in late game, could be very handy. Base Guardians have had their health increased by 10%. Well, I say base Guardians, all Guardians have had their health increased by 10%. Another change that I quite like. Base respawn times are up as well, from 8 seconds to 12 seconds, whereas late game respawn times are unaffected. And that's it for your patch notice. These are all of the major tweaks and changes that have happened inside of the 11th of July Deadlock update. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I've been your host, Jackie. Drop me a follow on Twitter, get that subscribe button clickety-clacked, and I will see you next time with another patch notice.